Well, hello there everybody, and welcome back to An Ecologist Plays, the channel where we are learning more about nature by playing games. And of course, we are playing some Ark Survival Evolved again today. And as you can see, our dinosaurs around our camp are dwindling a bit, as I have started storing them away in the cryo fridges, so we're making use of that now. Now today we have two things that we really need to go and catch. And the first one is actually flying around here. We've got two of them, two Dimorphodons. There's the one there. Very nice little toothy grin that it has. So that one is a level... Ooh, that's a nice one. That's 112. Not sure what level the other one is. So let's actually go straight for that. If I can just manage to throw it. There we go. We've bowled it. Now, just to tranquilize it. Aye, boar. Okay, so of course, I am under attack by all the other ones. That's one dead, 48, and 24. Okay, so quite weak individuals. Thankfully, we didn't really need them. But we have managed to actually tranquilize this one over here. Now, unfortunately, I don't think I've got any narcotics. I've got 8 narcotics. Okay, let's just put that on there. I'm not actually that well prepared. Let's give it some meat. I don't think that's going... Oh, okay, never mind. It's going to work well. Now, the Dimorphodon over here is going to be a very nice little shoulder pet for us. Now, the best would, of course, be to actually have an entire pack of them together, because they do very well as packs. And we have tamed the Dimorphodon. Now, Dimorphodon over here, let's call him Owen. I think it's a male. Let's have a look. The male or a female? It is actually a female. Okay, so I had named this one Owen after the archaeologist that described it, Richard Owen, but it seems that this is actually a female, so we are going to change the name to Ricarda, because Ricarda is the female version of the name Richard. So let's actually take back the narcotics. We'll leave the meat on there, and let's put our fur armor and our hide armor on it. Okay, right. Now we've got a new little pet, and we'll talk about Ricarda, the Dimorphodon, in a moment. Okay, right. So this was a typical little pterosaur that actually occurred in the early Jurassic. So it's one of the earlier ones, nowhere near as large as Quetzalcoatlus, which we will have a look at some point in this series. And it was also a very weird bulk individual. Notice this massive head at the front of its body over there. Well, if the head were anywhere else, it would be very strange indeed, but the head is quite large for its size. And this pterosaur over here was probably quite ungainly, probably not a very good flyer, and that's based on the proportions and the size of the head over here, and just overall looking at the structure of the skeleton. They most likely were not very good flyers. They were probably quite clumsy. Now, with this head, it would have made it almost impossible to fly if it were not for one very important factor. Notice the weird indentations in the front of the skull there and there, and also a little bit there. Now, those are weird holes in the skull. The skull is actually very, very, can I say, empty, with a few bones in the front here. This is a very, very lightweight skull. So even though it had a big head, it was actually relatively lightweight. It wasn't quite as heavy as one would expect. Now, also, the name Dimorphodon means two-shaped teeth, or two-formed teeth. That's because the front had a few of these bigger teeth. Not as many as is shown here. It would have had 5 or 6 of them, not 8 or 10 of them. And then the back would have had a whole bunch of other smaller teeth as well. So it had small teeth in the back and bigger teeth in the front here, giving it quite a toothy grin. Now, it's not quite known what on earth this Dimorphodon would have fed on. Initially, it was thought, okay, it would probably have eaten fish, but the tooth structure and its ungainliness in flight most likely meant that it wouldn't be able to catch fish, so fish was probably off the menu. And it was then theorized that, if we look at the skull again, based on the teeth here and the skull structure, they most likely could have snapped their jaws shut very quickly, but still very lightly, not a very good bite force. And it was therefore theorized that maybe they actually were feeding on things like insects and catching them in flight. But now more recently, tooth wear, or studies on the tooth wear of the species of Dimorphodon, have actually shown that, well, maybe they didn't feed on insects either. Maybe they actually fed on small vertebrates, little mammal-like creatures, little mammals that were in the area, little reptiles, all kinds of things like that. So nowadays the theory is that, well, that's probably what they were feeding on, which is, it's great that we are finally getting an understanding of what these early pterosaurs were actually eating. Now, I am going to be making a special little concoction now. In our industrial cookers, we are going to be putting in some sap, also grabbing a little bit of extra gasoline to put in here. And then we need a few things from our nursery on this side, from our greenhouse. First of all, we need honey in there. And we are going to need 8 honey for this recipe. Oh, I don't have my full ghillie suit on, so let's try to run away here. Yo, that took away half my health. Okay, I forgot that I don't have my entire ghillie suit on. That's bad. Oh, we'll be fine. We will survive. But as we are running around here, let's actually get our ghillie suit on. What we also need would be some savor root, which I think we can get from this one over here. Yeah, there's a nice bunch of savor root. We need rock carrots, which are basically the carrots over here. We've got potatoes, we've got carrots, we've got potatoes, and then we also need some long grass over here. We also need stimulants, which is quite easy to make with stimberries, or which uses stimberries, and we've got some of that as well. Stimberries and spark powder, that's what we will be using. Let's just close up our nursery here, our greenhouse. And we're going to make a whole bunch of stimulants here. And let's also just go and grab a whole bunch of fiber. That should work. Now we should have everything we need for our new special recipe that we're going to finally be making. I think we have everything. We've got the honey, we've got the sap, we've got the carrots, we've got the potatoes, we've got the stimulant, we've got fiber, and we've got water, which is being supplied to the cooker. So let's quickly make it, and voila, there we go, quick as can be. We've got some sweet veggie cakes, and that's going to be it. We can only make 4, I'm afraid, today, but this should be enough for the things we want to go and get. So we have managed to get our first tame, which was the Dimorphodon, our new little friend sitting on our shoulders over here. We are going to go get a few other pets now as well, which will be the little snails, the Achatinas, we are going to be getting now as well. Now, one thing I must also mention while we are flying around here, notice the tail tip of our Dimorphodon there. It's got that weird little diamond shape on it. Whether it actually had that or not is not known. There was, however, a similar species, a Rhamphorhynchus, which was a similar sized, similar shape, but well, very different head shape at least, but very similar sized, also early Jurassic, as far as I recall, pterosaur. And that pterosaur there, Rhamphorhynchus, had the so-called tail vein, as it is called, V-A-N-E. And that was probably used in steering to make quick turns. But there have been good quality soft tissue impressions found of Rhamphorhynchus. We have not found that with this species yet. Let's have a look. I think this Achatina is dead. No, it's not dead. Okay. Maybe I can actually get it unconscious. There we go. Marvelous. Now, let's put in a sweet veggie cake and hope that this one is enough to tame it. Yes! We shall call you Gary. And for ease of transportation, we're just going to put you in your new little snail home. And we'll talk about you when we get home. So, of course, we need a second snail here as well, because everyone needs a friend. So we are just going to shoot the purple one. And also put some more sweet veggie cakes. And we have managed to tame this one as well. Took quite a while. We were attacked by a Titana boa in the process as well. This one we are calling Tyrian because it is purplish in color. Now you will notice that the gender is not applicable because snails are hermaphrodites. They are both males and females at the same time. So when mating, both will be able to lay eggs. They both basically fertilize one another. Some cases they can fertilize themselves, but usually they will be fertilizing one another because that is an exchange of genetic material. So Tyrian here refers to Tyrian purple, which is a color pigment that was obtained from sea snails in the, well, used to be the Murex genus. Nowadays it is split into, I think, a few different genera. But those snails, those are marine snails, sea snails, that secreted a purplish mucus, which was a defense mechanism, but also used when trying to sedate their prey. It's a predatory snail. They would use that purple mucus to actually sedate the prey animals that they are trying to eat, also to cover their egg masses. And purple isn't a very common color in nature, but these snails were secreting it. And so humans looked at this and went, you know what, we are going to use this. Somehow we are going to use this. This is cool. The purple color here, wow. And so what humans did is, let's just see, is this one alive? Yeah, apparently it is alive. We are going to also just try to sedate it. And so what humans did is they took the snails and they would either milk it, because it also secretes that as an anti-predator mechanism. Oh, okay. We're going to call you Slimo. And also just going to get you into a nice little cryopod. So they would either secrete that as to catch their prey or as a anti-predator defense. And so humans would either milk them, which was very labor intensive, or they would just crush them and obtain the purple pigment that way. But to do that took a lot of snails. It was very, very labor intensive. And they would use the purple dye then to color fabrics. So for a fabric dye. But because it was so labor intensive and required so many snails, it was highly, highly prized. And purple fabrics were therefore very, very valuable. And because of that, purple is not a very common color in things like flags. If you're looking at purple, it's royal, it's royalty. Only royals could really afford to pay for that purple dye. Of course, nowadays we don't crush snails for that. We actually can obtain it quite easily just artificially, and of course in all kinds of other ways. But the original way was to actually do it with the snails. These snails that were used in the purple dyes were found or are found in the Mediterranean area. Oh no, I'm going to be knocked out. I'm probably going to be knocked out in a moment and go to sleep here due to the Titanoboa. I'm just going to make sure. Oh no, I will not be bitten again. Come on. I'm just going to fly away a little bit. These Titanoboas are a little bit ridiculous. Now, Titanoboas did not have venom. Let's just get that straight. They did not have venom. They are massive pythons or boas. They were the largest snakes ever to have lived. And we are going to be talking about them as well at some point. But for now, we're actually heading home. We are going to try and tame one later. For now, nah, not necessary. We will be talking about them. But they are constrictors, or were constrictors, the Titanoboas. So they would have squeezed their prey to death. So as I was saying, these snails occur in the Mediterranean Sea. And as a result, Phoenicia was one of the places where you could actually get the purple dye, because the snails were in the area. It's still very, very labor intensive, and to make a piece of fabric required tens of thousands of snails. So really a very laborious process to make purple dye. And as a result of that, the common people could not afford the purple dye, or couldn't afford purple fabrics. Now, we are going to be throwing out our little Achatinas over here, because we are going to get Achatina paste from them. But if we let them on wander, they are going to generate that automatically. And this is like cementing paste. And that is going to be very, very nice and useful. So we've got Phoebe, we've got Gary the snail over there. What have we got here? We have Slimo, and then lastly we are going to get Tyrian over here as well. Okay, so Tyrian, I'm going to tell all of you, enable wandering. You know what, we're going to do enable mating and copy all the settings to all the other ones. Right, So now we've got 4 snails over here that will hopefully systematically produce Achatina paste. So if we go in here, oh, and they're already mating. We're going to have a whole bunch of little babies. We are, however, going to have to make some food for them so that they can eat. And they will only eat sweet veggie cakes that we have supplied for them. So these snails here, they are not based on a fossil species. Instead, they are based on the giant land snails, the African giant land snails, Achatina, or now called Lissachatina. So it's like Achatina, but with a little lis at the front there. And they are some of the largest snails in the world. They will cover your entire hand if you go and hold them. I had talked about them in one of my previous series as well. In the Ancestors, the Humankind Odyssey series, I did talk about them as well. But they are very often kept as pets, which is a bit of a problem because they can spread parasites and disease to people. In particular, if they get a specific type of roundworm, I think it is, they can cause a type of meningitis in humans, which is obviously not a good thing. So yeah, just do keep in mind, please don't keep these guys as pets. They also are extremely invasive, one of the top 100 invasive species in the world, because as I've mentioned, one of them is not a male and the other one a female. Both of them are male and female at the same time, and so when mating, as we had them earlier, as actually I think they are still doing, oh, they are gestating now. Okay, so they already mated. So that one had mated with one other one. This one is mating. Okay. I think that one probably had mated already as well. Have a look here. Yeah, this one is gestating. Both of these had mated with one another, okay? Because both of them are male and female. They are hermaphrodites. They were mating and now both are pregnant. This one over here, I'm not sure who that one is mating with. Probably just one of the other ones already mated with. And I suspect this 4th one also. I think Gary is also, yeah, Gary is also mating now. So we're going to have a whole bunch of little Achatina snails running around here. But as I said, they are highly invasive, one of the top 100 invasive species in the world, because you only need two of them to start a whole new population. And in theory, at least, if they were able to mate with themselves, you only needed one. But 2 of them would have a relatively sound, genetically sound population that can establish. But for our purposes, they are confined to the greenhouse over there. They hopefully can't get out, and they can't escape and overrun this area. But I know in Florida, there was a massive infestation of the Lissachatina and the African giant land snails, or giant African land snails. And they had gotten it under control, and then I think last year they were spotted again, where they again had been introduced or had escaped from people's houses or the people's care, and they were starting to overrun the wild areas again. So quite a big problem, which is why we are just keeping them in there. We are trying to be responsible as ecologists in this world. In our next episode, we are hopefully going to take Sarko Sam over here for a bit of a spin. We're going to hopefully go down into the depths. I have got my scuba gear ready on the raft over there, and we are hopefully going to go for a bit of a spin there. Now, in the meantime, feel free to watch my small land video that is also up on the channel, where we are running around again like Grounded, but very different as well, running around in the miniaturized world and talking about the animals that we occur there. And in that series, I am joined by my wife, Nick, who also is running around with me in Small Land Survive the Wilds. Now, of course, I will also be streaming again tomorrow. We are going to be streaming Subnautica, and we are either going to finish or get very, very close to the end of Subnautica, and then we are going to have to do some other game. So I will keep you guys posted about what game we are doing for that. But again, this stream will take place South African time, 7 o'clock until 11 o'clock in the evening, and the times for your local time zone will be posted below. So I hope you enjoyed the video. Until next time, everybody, stay safe. We will see you all soon. Goodbye.